The path to unstoppable discipline. There is a level of discipline that commands respect and fear, and today, you will discover the exact method to attain it. Have you ever encountered that one person who, without fail, wakes up at the same time every day, follows the same routine, and simply never stops? While everyone else falters in the third week or retreats behind excuses, they continue to progress and introduce themselves as people of action. Do you wonder what makes them so different? It's not normal. It is, in fact, an ancient system employed by Zen monks in Japan to cultivate this precise type of frightening consistency. They call it joji, the practice that perpetuates itself. And once you grasp its workings, you will never abandon a goal again. However, this system comes with a significant caveat. It is not for everyone, as it requires you to obliterate a previously unknown part of your own self. Before demonstrating its mechanics, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment with the habit you are most eager to develop. This support validates my efforts and confirms your genuine interest in change. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Awakening. The ensuing story is about a programmer named Raphael. He was intelligent and had a successful career, but he was plagued by a singular problem: an inability to sustain any habit for more than 2 weeks. His gym routine stalled after 2 months. Meditation lasted a single week, and he'd buy a book, read 3 pages, and then forget it in a drawer. The pattern was immutable. Monday brought total motivation. Wednesday, the first mental negotiations began. Friday meant complete surrender. And Sunday was reserved for promises about the following week. Raphael attempted every solution habit tracking apps, rewards, accountability partners, but nothing worked because he was battling an unknown force, the very architecture of his own brain. This struggle persisted until he discovered the reason Zen monks can meditate for 800 years without missing a day. And the secret is not willpower, but something far deeper and more formidable. Chapter 2. The Secret of the Monks. In the Zen temples, there is a seemingly simple rule that fundamentally changes everything. Kuji, literally translating to continuous practice without gaps. Do you truly understand the weight of this? It means that since the year 1200, every single day at 3:30 a.m., a bell rings in the H temple, and every day since 1200, the monks have woken up not at 3:25 a.m., not at 3:35 a.m., but precisely at 3:30 a.m. What never occurs in that temple is a monk lying in bed considering skipping their duty. The thought simply does not exist in their minds. This is because they grasp a truth you have yet to realize. Your brain compartmentalizes every commitment into either reversible or irreversible boxes. Reversible commitments trigger mental negotiation, while irreversible ones simply happen. When a monk takes vows before the entire community, they are not making a promise. They are fundamentally changing their identity. They are not promising to try meditating. They are declaring themselves a meditator. The community bears witness, the identity shifts, and the negotiation ceases. A Harvard neuroscientist, having studied habits for 15 years, made a revolutionary discovery. When you engage in public behavior, your primitive brain interprets failure as a survival threat. Our ancestors who lost status in the tribe perished, and the brain operates on the same logic today. This is precisely what Raphael adopted. He stopped making private promises and started issuing public declarations. He wrote on paper, "I am a person who meditates 20 minutes every day at 5 o'clock a.m. for 90 consecutive days." He signed it, posted it on social media, and told everyone. His girlfriend called him overly dramatic, and his coworkers suggested he was trying too hard perfect. Every person he encountered became fuel. Every morning he wanted to give up. He thought about the humiliation of facing everyone and confessing he was just another guy who couldn't keep his word. Day 3 brought the first real test. The 5 o'clock a.m. alarm triggered his usual mental routine. You're exhausted. This isn't healthy. One day won't make a difference. But something crucial had changed. The thought of publishing online that he had failed after 3 days, the prospect of admitting defeat to his girlfriend, was unbearable. The public statement had made quitting more painful than continuing. However, this is where the real problem began. Chapter 3. The Internal War. Despite the massive social pressure, Raphael was still fighting a daily internal war. His body had no concern for his reputation. It wanted to sleep when it was tired. The public statement ended the mental negotiation, but he still had to battle his biology every single morning. That is when he discovered the second principle of the monks: non-negotiable hours. Every day, you needlessly expend mental energy on the same trivial questions. When will I do this? Now or later? Before breakfast or at night? This decision-making process consumes glucose in your brain that should be reserved for the actual practice. You are burning your fuel deciding when to drive instead of actually driving. Raphael chose 5 a.m. not because he was a natural early bird who loved watching the sunrise, but because the world was asleep. No messages, no emails, no distractions, no excuses. The fixed schedule was not about optimization. It was about elimination, eliminating every single possible reason to postpone the task. The first week was pure hell, his body fighting him every morning. This resistance is normal. Your body is a machine that operates on patterns, and you are forcing it to build a new one. By the second week, something shifted. He began waking up 2 minutes before his alarm. His body was starting to anticipate the routine. On day 14, the alarm went off, and his feet hit the floor before his conscious mind even activated. No thought, no decision, just movement. What most people fail to understand is that fixed schedules are not about finding the perfect time. They are about eliminating time as a variable. When you perform an action at different times each day, you force your brain to make a new decision every time. With a fixed schedule, your brain cannot argue with a constant. But Raphael soon encountered a new issue. His time slot was fixed, but what he did during that time kept changing. Some mornings he meditated well, on others, he read. Sometimes he just did a few push-ups. His brain had found a new negotiation point. Instead of arguing about when, it began arguing about what. While the 20 minutes at 5 a.m. became reliable, the practice itself was chaos. The fixed schedule had solved half the equation, but his mind still found gaps for negotiation. He had eliminated the when, but not the what. This brings us to Dogen's controversial teaching on forms, which demands that you perform exactly the same thing every day until your mind completely surrenders. Chapter 4. The only way you might believe that variety sustains interest. But in reality, variety is the very death of consistency. Every time you change what you are doing, your brain is forced to make micro-decisions. The unbreakable self, the power of seamless consistency, the constant struggle over small, everyday choices, whether to do push-ups or burpees, what book to read, or if one should meditate, is a recurring crack where your old patterns are leaking again. To seal this, Raphael adopted a period of Gyuji, or 90 days of identical practice, completely eliminating decision-making. 20 push-ups, 10 minutes of meditation, and 10 minutes of reading, always in the same order and timed. While his friends called him robotic, they failed to grasp that the very monotony, or the annoying period, was the point. By the third week, his mind fought back, screaming for variety and calling the process stupid, but by the fourth week, the resistance began to break down. The voice of negotiation quieted, and by week 6, the practice had begun to take care of itself. Raphael was halfway through his push-ups before he even consciously realized he had started. This illustrates a crucial point about consistency. It is not about maintaining willpower forever, but about repetition until willpower is no longer necessary. As an MIT researcher on behavioral automation found, repeating an action in the same context for approximately 66 days causes the basal ganglia of the brain to take control, making the behavior automatic. You stop deciding to do it and simply do it. The real test of this system arrived on day 35 when Raphael caught the flu, and again on day 40 when he had to travel for work. These moments activate the lulled pattern. Illness equals day off, a trip is an exception. This is where most people give up, believing perfect practice requires perfect, non-existent conditions. However, Dogen's teaching, which Raphael embraced, stresses that practice must continue without even a moment of breach, for in that gap, old patterns return. Raphael's breakthrough was understanding that practice doesn't require perfection, but continuity. The all-or-nothing lie, the belief that if you can't do the full practice, you should do nothing, is the biggest killer of consistency. This thinking creates gaps, allowing the old self to drag you back. Unlike an elite athlete who takes intentional, strategic rest to train harder tomorrow, skipping practice due to fatigue is a retreat, not rest. A river never stops flowing. Even in a drought, it is a trickle, but it is still moving. The moment your practice stops, you are no longer a person who practices, but someone who used to practice. On his day of travel, despite a 4 a.m. airport departure and no hotel gym, Raphael performed push-ups in the airport bathroom, meditated in the Uber, and read on the plane. Nothing was perfect, but everything maintained the momentum towards his goal. As people began to notice his change, calling him obsessive or saying his discipline wasn't healthy, Raphael knew he was on the right track. Normal people get normal results. He was striving to be unbreakable. Yet no one prepares you for the unexpected obstacles, the sick child, the broken car, the late work hours, the consistency killers that force a stressful, moment of chaos decision. To combat this, Raphael implemented the concept of presolutions, mirroring the ancient Zen monasteries that maintain practice through earthquakes and wars by having predetermined answers. When the meditation room floods, they go to the dining room. There is no discussion, only automatic response. Raphael listed every obstacle that had previously broken his consistency and created a plan for each. Rain plan, push-ups in the garage. Hangovers, 2 push-ups, 1 minute of meditation. When hacks happens, he does why without thinking. This power not only maintains the sequence but also saves mental energy by eliminating decision fatigue. By day 70, Raphael's practice was fully automatic. He sometimes woke up without even remembering the push-ups, his body simply moving through the sequence. When his girlfriend's mother visited, he did his push-ups in the bathroom at 5 a.m. because the answers were already written. Upon completing his 90-day Gyuji, a deeper transformation was evident. His friends called his consistency scary, which he took as a sign he was operating at the correct level, proving that what they deemed impossible was simply uncomfortable. They wanted him to slow down so they could feel better about staying still. Consistency is not about doing something every day. It's about becoming someone who cannot do it any other way. By implementing the system public statement, fixed schedule, seamless practice method, and pre-solved answers, Raphael remodeled his identity. He stopped being someone who tries and became someone who is. This transformation is a death and rebirth, the death of the inconsistent self and the birth of the unbreakable self. The Gyuji system won't make you a better person. It will make you a different person someone others will deem not normal. And when you hear those words, you will know you have finally arrived.